So, I learned how to make Banku and Okra stew from a Ga community, Jamestown to be specific. And I know what you're thinking, Banku and Okra stew, don't you know how to make that already? Welcome to my community kitchen, a series where I travel to communities, towns, cities, regions, and countries to learn either familiar or unique dishes that communities have to offer. Beyond that, I want to bring back the joy of community, eating together, cooking together, having interactions, playing games, and also learning about the community culture and history.
Said you won't papa. What did I soldiers? Kakrana, Sana, what did you?
I've always held the belief that different people make the same meals differently. Yes, there may be a lot of similarities, but they always have their own unique touch. So let me share a few things that stood out to me. So in this community, they were very strict on the size of the okra. It had to be cut in a very specific way. When I'm making my okra soup or okra stew, I honestly don't really check the sizes. I just cut whatever I'm feeling like. Here, they were very keen on the sizes, the divisions, because they said if you want it to draw, there's a specific way you need to cut it. I truly appreciate the opportunity to be able to learn from different people, especially grown-ups, grandmothers, aunties who have lived life and tried different things, who have a deep knowledge in cooking. I'm always so happy to be able to learn from them, and this experience, this community kitchen, means so much more to me than just content. Garden eggs is an integral part of their okra stew, and I am pointing this out because not everybody uses garden eggs in making their okra stew, but they had it, and they also had a very unique way of cutting it. My experience with garden eggs in okra stew is that it's cut in cubes. As you can see in the video, they are cutting it in a very flat way, and when I mentioned or asked them about this, they said so that it can cook evenly with the okra. So after that, the okra is put in a bowl, a little bit of water, just a little bit of water is added, some ekang or cow is added to it, and as you can see, the okra is cooking so beautifully. It was drying perfectly. This technique is something I'm definitely going to use in my kitchen. Now, one of the core of the community kitchen is that I go to learn. I don't go with my biases. I don't go with the recipes I know. I'm going to learn from these women and how they cook. So we started making the stew for the okra, and even with cutting the onions and the tomatoes, they were also very keen on how it needed to be cut. That is one thing I realized about them. They all had an understanding of, okay, this is how we cut it. We cut it into smaller chunks. We cut it into this size. This is how you're supposed to divide it. And I really appreciated that because that means that is their version. And I love learning other people's version of meals. Another thing I love about the community kitchen is how people gather around when we are cooking. So when we were cooking, a lot of kids came around. Even a lot of adults wanted to see what we were doing. And a lot of adults even came around to tell us, oh, do it like this, do it like that. And I really appreciated that because that is the whole goal, to learn from the source, to learn from people and how they do their things, to add to what I know and to share with you my community. So for our proteins, for want of a better word, we used some willies. So as you saw me doing, I cleaned it thoroughly, and then I cut them into smaller chunks, and then it was put into a bowl with some onions and the tomatoes and palm oil. At this point, I was wondering what was happening. I was like, wait, is this how you make your okra stew? But I decided to just go with the process. Like I mentioned, I'm here to learn, not to tell them how things are done. And so we put this in there, put it on fire for a bit. We added some powdered pepper to it. They said you can also use fresh pepper, but for this particular recipe, we used powdered pepper. We mixed everything together. It was also quite a shocker for me to see momoni being used because honestly, in my mind, I thought Ghan people did not eat momoni, but I learned that it's actually a staple in their meals, in a lot of their meals. And so those who have been always been dragging me when I cook with momoni, please. So you saw us put the beef inside and put a little bit of water. That is something that they do. They put in water bit by bit, so everything in the stew is completely cooked and dried. We also use a lot of smoked fish. As you can see here, we use some salmon and some other types of smoked fish, and then the beef, and then the willy. Obviously, there are other types of protein that can be used, but for this particular recipe, these are the things that we use. So if you want to add anything else, feel free to add it. So we cleaned everything thoroughly. They showed me how to break it, and then as you can see, before the okra was added into the stew was dry. There was no trace of onions or tomatoes anywhere. We cooked it down before adding the okra, and you can see how good it looks, like how everything is drawing, how everything looks so nice. And you can also clearly see that we didn't use any tomato paste. Even the tomatoes was just a little, and it was cooked down, like it was simmered down, and you couldn't see anything inside before the okra was added. And here we're going to add our fish, our smoked fish that we've washed, and you're almost done. Like okra stew is very, very simple. So at this point, you let it sit on fire for a few minutes because the fish is smoked, the okra is done, and then we proceeded to go and make our banku. So this is the first time I've ever made banku with yellow corn, and you guys, I'm stuck. I did not know that yellow corn was this good. So we added our corn, we added our cassava dough, added some water, and then we mixed everything thoroughly. So for anyone that knows me, banku making is not my stronghold, and these people made sure that I made the banku myself. So they were just standing there and giving instructions and telling me what to do. So yeah, I was just mixing everything. My problem with making banku is I don't know when the consistency is right and the thickness. I don't know if it's too thick or it's too light. So when I make banku, it's either too hard or too soft. I can't seem to get the middle ground. That's my problem. But because they were there, they gave me the directions on what the consistency should look like. You know, with banku, you don't have to leave it on fire. You have to continuously stir it till it starts getting thicker, and then you start to drive it or knead it or whatever English you want to call it. I added the salt. So from my experience making banku, you wait till the banku firms up, cooks a bit, and then you add some water and salt. But they add the salt directly into the mixture before they start making the banku. At this point, I needed help, so a lady came in to help me make make sure that the banku doesn't turn into what it's supposed to turn into. And then I took over again, and then you can see that it looks really good. The yellow corn banku, guys, if you have not tried, if you've tried it, let me know in the comments what you think. It's really, really good. It has a little bit of sweetness to it than the ordinary banku, corn banku that has a bit of sourness. From my experience trying it for the first time, everybody really gathered around to assist me. The older aunties, the grandmothers, show me the ropes of making banku. So now I'm a banku making pro, okay, because of the women in Jamestown. That's one of the things I appreciate so much about the community kitchen, getting to learn from these women's experience and expertise. At this point, the banku is done, so you have to taste the banku to see if it's done. When I don't actually know, like, you guys, let me know in the comments, how do you know when the banku is done? How can you tell that banku is done? I want to know in the comments. Okay, so after the banku is ready, the next thing is to actually like portion it into different containers. We still use the plastics here in Ghana, which personally I think is not the healthiest way to go. Some people use the leaves, but most homes use the plastic, and there's always pushback and there's always a lot of backlash when you use the rubber. But I think we need a solution than just backlash. What is a more sustainable and cost-effective way that we can package our banku when it is done? Something that most homes, both middle, lower income families, can afford. Because if we sit on social media and fight it out, the solution is still not there. Most people are used to plastics because it's affordable, it's convenient, it's readily available. And so no matter how much we fight against it, if we are not creating solutions or giving them alternatives that they can find, the problem is not going to be solved. So I really want to hear more about what you guys think about plastics and what we can do about it. One of the things I love about the community kitchen is that when the food is ready, people will appear. At this point, people saw that the banku is getting ready. Like, we are already portioning the banku. So everybody was trying to take a seat, trying to get closer so that when the food is being shared, they will not be left out. And I really love seeing communities, homes, people come together to eat together, because eating together is a tradition that we are losing because of how fast-paced our world has become. Everybody's busy, everybody's very individualistic, and that's one of the things I really want to kind of portray or bring back with my community kitchen series, where we get to sit down and eat together, talk, laugh, that kind of communal and collective living. And so anytime I see people gather around to eat after the food has been done, I get so excited. So here is our banku. We had a lot of bowls. I was able to take some home, and we were able to share this for a lot of people in the community. This is the okra stew after it was served. Everybody sat around or gathered around and they enjoyed it. They ate it. Everybody was giving me praises, and the other women praises that the food was very good. You can see from how the okra looks that it tasted so good. I'm always so excited to do more of this. So if you're watching this video and you have a community, or you have a family recipe, or you have a home that you want to open to me so that I can come and do more of this, leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next community kitchen series. Bye.